What is up, everybody? It's your boy Rogue here. So, in today's video, I'm going to show you guys my up-to-date Ryzeal deck list for the current metagame. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. And also, make sure to stay at the end of the video. I'm going to show you guys some awesome replays on Dueling Book. I recorded about 3 or 4 replays versus the current metagame for Suda. So, make sure you guys stay and check that part out. And yeah, let's begin. So, I'm going to go over the deck list and go over all my explanations. Also, make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button for more Yu content. I'm uploading as much as I can throughout the week. And be sure to check out my channel sponsors in the description down below to save you guys some money on your Yu-Gi-Oh orders. TradingCardMint.com for 7% off. And Imperium Duels to get all of your Yu-Gi-Oh needs. Now, 3 exit Ryzeals, that's pretty standard. You're supposed to run 3 about a Ryzeal, so three exit, 3 ice, 1 node, 3 sword. And this is my addition to the deck that the OCG was doing, and I wanted to test it out, and I'm freaking loving it. It is 2 Sakitama and an Aritama. Now, the reason why I run these cards is because originally I ran the Pots, the Desires, and the Prosperity. I hated them. Like in the beginning, the Pots were good, but you really only ran the Pots to hope to draw into consistency and or hand traps, but mainly consistency when your hand was bad. And a lot of the times when you ran Desires, you had a risk of banishing important cards, like you might have banished all of your exit Ryzels or all of your sword Ryzels. Things like that does happen, and I got tired of losing like that. I lost a few games at locals where I activated Desires, banished my field spells, and when I was running 2 copies, I only run 1 copy now. And I also banished like all of my copies of Sword, and I couldn't play. But ever since I added the Spirit Engine in, I noticed the OCG ran it, and I'm like, let me just test it out. Extra extenders matter so much, especially post Suda, because you have, I'm running Evil Swarm over Burrows in my pure build. A lot of you guys might not want to run that. It's not something you have to run, but I like Evil Swarm over Burrows because you can hand loop your opponent mid to late game, which can just give you auto wins. And you guys, I think I did that in one of my replays. And if you guys been watching my vlogs, even though it's not as good to hand loop pre-Suda because 20 Eclipse is not out, you can still hand loop depending on your hand if you open it like plug-in or whatever. So yeah, this is just good, give you extra body. And then so 2 Sakitamas, 1 Aritama. I like them a lot. I'm gonna keep running them for to move forward. I know a few of you guys are asking why not the Shark Engine. I've been wanting to test it. I ain't gonna lie. My locals that I ordered my cards from TradingCardMint.com, they didn't have any Shark Engine stuff left. I do want to test the Shark Engine over this as well, just to see if I like it. In theory, it is good, but you do have to add Totally Awesome to your extra deck. And a lot of the times, the one shark dude, the one that doesn't do much but special summon himself in the hand, can brick. That's the only reason I don't want to run a shark engine, or that's the reason I think it didn't do as well in the OCG. Like, it did decent in the OCG, and a lot of the Ryzeal players over there, but most players that played extenders did go for the Spirit Engine. And I think the reason why is because these never brick. The only way they brick is if these are the only cards you open with nothing else. Like if you open up Aritama, you're gonna at least make Sakitama and have a play. If you open up Sakitama by himself, it's a good chance you're gonna open this with a Full Hollows or something. Now, if you just open this up by itself and you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, you're just not gonna play Yu-Gi-Oh. You're just meant to lose the game regardless. But 9 times out of 10, if you open up these with like a Mocharmy, you're in a good position. If you open up him by himself, he's a combo starter by himself. So that's what I think about the Shark stuff versus the Shark Engine, where you run the one guy that when you activate a spell, you can special summon him from your hand. Search out the one guy that says when you add him to your hand, you can special summon out when he's being searched. So I mean, both engines have its pros and cons. The Shark Engine definitely has a higher ceiling, slightly more bricking, while the Spirit Engine just adds more consistency and doesn't really improve the brick ratio, if that makes sense. Okay, now I guess I picked the traps first. I can show you guys traps. 1 Plasma Hole, I love it, especially post Suda, because on your opponent's turn, you can activate Plasma Hole. So let's say, for example, your opponent's beating you down, they drop loaded your field, and this is in your graveyard. You can go, okay, activate Plasma Hole, banish it, make Twins of the Eclipse. So if your opponent now attacks over your Twins of the Eclipse, you can activate her effect during the battle phase, bring back a detonator, and you back in the game. So I like it like that, and it's really good. Also helps you dodge things like, I don't know, let's say Ultimate Slayer. Instead of them Ultimate Slayer and you detonate back to the extra deck, you can go Rise Plaza Hole, banish it, turn detonator and whatever monster on your board until it Twins of the Eclipse. So has a lot of good applications moving forward for pure builds. Of course, the standard 3 and perms. 3 Fuwalos, the money card. If you guys don't have Fuwalos, just add Drolls to your main deck. Yeah, so that's what I would personally do, or either add Droll or Ghost Ogre. But Fuwalos is definitely needed if you can't afford it. Those would be my budget alternatives: Droll or Ghost Ogre. Mainly Droll because it's good for the Mitsurugi matchup. It's decent against the Fiendsmith stuff. And then I go 3 Ash, or you can do 3 Valor as well. I cut Valor out of my deck. So 3 Ash, 3 Nibs, and that's pretty much my hand trap lineup. It's about what 12 hand traps, give or take, and I like it. Online, if you guys been watching my vlogs, and just online, I was testing out Droll in the main deck. While I do like Droll, I stopped respecting Malice, and I started losing to Malice more. So Nib is mainly for Malice. Honestly, if Malice wasn't a deck in the metagame, I probably wouldn't run Nib. Nib is also, I will be honest though, Nib is also decent against the Fiendsmith Ryzeal build as well. Droll is decent against the Fiendsmith and the Malice matchup, but Nib is just that much better. And a lot of the times too, caught myself getting Nib because if your opponent opens up multiple hand traps, you're kind of screwed in this deck. So it's kind of like, so I am playing 3 Cross-Out Designator, it's best to have Nib than not having Nib. Droll is good when you're going first, because I am siding Droll, so main deck Nib, side Droll. So yeah, 1 plug-in, 1 cross. I do like the 2 cross, but after slimming this deck down, 1 is just fine. Going second when 2 cross in your deck hurts so much, because a lot of times you opening it is good, right? But a lot of time if you open it and then top deck it, it's too bad, and you want to limit your bricks. So 1 cross is good. And then 2 trips of tactics. I like 2. I feel like 3 is too much. 2 is just right for me. You can run 3. I consider running 3, but 2 is good, honestly. 1 Call by the Grave. 3 Cross-Out Designator. These are standard for pure. Can't speak for any other builds, but you want to make sure your dual drive resolve. You resolve a dual drive, you're winning 99% of the time. 3 Droplet. This is a new addition to the deck. Over 3 effect valors or whatever. Reason why I like Droplet, Mitsurugi deck is real. I respect that deck. I don't want to lose to Mitsurugi, so Droplet is mandatory in this deck. Outside of Mitsurugi, I've just been testing it at locals against all the decks like Malice. I've been testing it online against Fiendsmith, and it's been coming in clutch, and I see why a lot of the OCG players ran it at 3 in almost all of their Ryzeal decks. It is a really good board breaker. It's generic, and it just steals games, honestly. And in TCG, people don't expect it because a lot of people cut it, but I like it. So I've been running it, so I think you guys, this is good for pure. Then 3 Bonfire to run off the deck. It's a 40 card main deck. Now for the extra deck, obviously you got the 2 Twins of the Eclipse. It's called Eclipse Twins in the TCG. I like Twins of the Eclipse better, but Eclipse 10s is whatever. You run 2. It's a good recursion card, and yeah, you run 2, no exceptions. Daigusto Emerald. Now this was a Star Liege at first. I did cut Star Liege because after a lot of testing online, I found myself going into game 2 and 3 not making Star Liege because against the metagame, Mitsurugi and Fiendsmith Ryzeal, you kind of want to end on, like, if you go full combo, you want to end on Detonator and Abyss Dweller. So Star Leech was good before Fiendsmith was a thing and before Mitsurugi a thing, because going to game 2, going to Star Leech, that way you can avoid the Ultimate Slayers. But because of Fiendsmith, because of all this other extra stuff, I think Daigusto Emerald is a better option, or whatever tech card you want to run for like the mid game, because I found myself going full combo, running out of targets. But I did win 1 game when I was testing online with Daigusto Emerald, because I was able to Emerald like mid game, shuffle back my dual drives, draw a card, drew into a hand trap, spammed out more Ryzeals from my hand, made dual draft, searched out cross, and that was all she wrote. So I like Daigusto Emerald. I mean, it draws. You barely go into it. When you go into it, it matters not. Plus, the artwork is freaking sick, man. I freaking love the way this card looks. Brings me back to my old school Yu-Gi-Oh days. Even some more burrows for the hand ripping abilities. There's a bunch of combos online. I did. You guys will see how you pretty much hand ripping the opponents on the opponent anyway. Mainly, you want to go into this as mid game. There is a hand loop combo where you can go into it turn 1, but you typically hand loop for 2 cards and pass with this and like a sword on your field, and that's really bad. You never want to hand loop like that. And if you do hand loop like that, that's after your opponent hits you with 3 hand traps and you're still somehow able to make this guy. So you never want to hand loop turn 1. This is really when you want to hand loop mid game. So let's say, for example, you already got Let's say you're mid game, turn 7 or turn 8 in a duel. Your opponent's down to 2 cards, they go pass. You still got Ryzeal cards in your hand, and you can't OTK them, but you know you can at least kill their resources. Going to Ouroboros, rip a card out of the hand, overlay into Eclipse, specials out Ice by distributing Ouroboros. Eclipse kick in, bring Ouroboros back, bounce another card out of their hand. Or let's say they got 1 card in their hand, rip a card out of their hand, do the same thing, use Ouroboros' other effect to bounce their monster and fill back to the extra deck. So he has a lot of applications. Or if you want to, you can banish his cards out of the graveyard. So yeah, Ouroboros is overall a good card. I think you should run it in Pure. I think it has a lot of value in Pure. But hey, you guys run what you want to run. This is just my build, and it's been working for me. Then, of course, 2 detonators, 2 dual drives. Consider bumping dual drive to 3, but you don't need it. Exton Knight, Baguska, Abyss Dweller. This card probably going to get banned eventually. But I don't think it should get banned in the TCG, mainly because Mr. Rugi's scary. Honestly, it's a real deck. And Fiendsmith, like, we have Fiendsmith stuff at full power. In the OCG, they didn't have Fiendsmith at full power, which is why this card got hit. But I think TCG, this should stay. And possibly Baguska, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when that time comes. I like Castel. This could be any spot removal, but I think having a spot removal in your extra deck is very important. Castel's very good just removing like back. I like it because he can remove back row. You never really want to reuse it to remove monsters, or I mean you can, and you're good with that. But the fact it can remove back row like floodgates, for example. Let's say if your opponent makes there can only be 1, and you have a way to make Castel. You can bounce there can only 1 back to their deck and then pop off with your monster. So I think Castel has a lot of value for the deck outside of just trying to go for those cheesy combos where you win with that trap card that says your opponent can't play Yugioh. Then, of course, Typhon. Everyone should be running Typhon at this point. Dugaris, and then Aggregator. There are arguments for 2 of these, but honestly, me personally, I never really wanted 2. I mean, it's a personal preference thing, honestly. Build this deck how you see fit. Like I said, don't take my word for face value. Build it how you think your playstyle is. I always play cards to my playstyle. Now for my side deck, so I got 1 Thrust. I want a second one. So until I get my second one, I'm going to run in 2 D-Barriers with it alongside. My list on Dueling Book runs 2 Thrust, 1 D-Barrier, and I like that a lot. However, if you like me, you can only pick up 1 Thrust. 1 Thrust is fine, 2 D-Barrier. I like Thrust because it's just versatile, and that way it fixes your bricks. And then, of course, 3 Solemns, Feather Duster for Thrust, Osman Slayer for Thrust, Lancias for Malice, obviously, Cowboy for Time. You got to run Cowboy for Time. Don't let people discourage y'all saying, oh, that's scummy. You should have won a winning time. Dude, F all that. Ain't nothing worse than playing in a tournament, and there's like 60 seconds left on the clock, and you have to force yourself to draw with your opponent because you don't have a way to burn them for game. If you can win in time, win in time. Screw people say. And then Droll and Lockbird for Mr. Rugi decks. When you're going to first against Phoenix with Ryzeal, you side out in Hebrews for this card, and you typically win. So this is my pure Ryzeal deck list in detail. Enjoy the dual portion of this video. I don't know if I'm going to do voiceovers yet because I'm a little tired today. I ain't going to lie. I'm kind of like forcing myself to speak right now. I'm just really exhausted. Been a long week for me. But yeah, we'll be taking this deck list to 2 tournaments this weekend. I'm going to like a local my Friday locals, and I'm going to a case tournament on my Sunday. So be on the lookout for more updates for this deck list to see if I won or how good I did. And I'll give you guys more of a tournament report. But yeah, man, enjoy the replays. I'm going to catch you guys in the next video.
Yugioh. Yugioh. Yugioh.